It's setting up. I think it'll tell us on this screen when it's live. It's now streaming live. Correctamundo. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to close that window. And I'm going to grab my phone so I can see comments from Facebook. Yeah, I'm sorry about getting the time wrong. I don't know what I did there. I'm not sure how that happened.
No, I don't know. I don't know if you got the time wrong, Todd, or if I was just a bit confused. I think you said 9. I think you said 9 p.m., but we usually do 8, which was why I was.
There's been a time change since then. That's what happened because I've had to deal with that. That's why we've actually gone to an automated calendar. I didn't have you use it, but it actually took all the thinking out of it, so it's cool. It's right. You just go in and it shows you your time and what's available, and then you're able to just pick something, and there's no conflict. Denise Chadwick, Irina Costa, funny. Okay, thanks for coming in, everybody. Let's see, we got 6 people in the house. Who else is here? Patricia, and I'm not sure who Patricia is, but that's Patricia and Lauren Starr. Thank you all for coming in to the studio. All right, so we are now live on Facebook, and let me pull up the thing. As we usually got 26 people in the house, I'm going to share it to the network, and then we're going to have a discussion about a controversial post that Miguel made me put up the other day and put my name on it, but he's the one that actually thought it up.
Really? You didn't give me any forewarning about this. I don't do controversial posts.
I was trying to save you as an ace in the hole I thought we were going to roll out this weekend, and it's good that we didn't, but because the streaming capability is ready, but the website's not ready, because I don't want people going in there, and we don't want people going in there and having problems with, the community aspect of it, the posting and the images and all that. We need to get that right. And there's some security stuff involved, which we don't want to cause anybody any problems as far as that goes, So we want to make sure that we protect their email and identity and all that stuff. So Todd had to wait again. It's only been 2 years of me putting my foot in my mouth and my boot up my ass. Hello, Debbie Azera Plant, Serena Bachiliga. Wait, I'm Spanish. I can do this. Bachiliga. Eric Peterson, Elinka Sandu, Linda Winger, Calgary, Patricia Satchwell, Jill Nicholas from the Big Island, Sue Baxter Fitz. Thank you for your continued love and support and contributions, Sue Baxter Fitz, and so many other people that allowed us to get this far. Colleen Hoke, Pia Halmarsdotter, and Deborah Lee Morrill, Heather Houston's in the house, Robert Abernathy, Amira Beth. And Amira, I know you sent me a note, and I saw the first part of it said, I want to offer you something, and I haven't been able to look at it. We should get together soon, though. There's some cool stuff happening in Kapa'a. I found an ecstatic dance on Wednesday nights from 8 to 11 and Saturday nights, and it's incredible. I'm going to go talk to the owner tomorrow about streaming from that location 2 or 3 days a week. Lily is in the house. Beautiful Lily Howard, Katarina de Amor, Duncan Alexander. Thank you, Duncan, for all your nice comments the last couple of days. I really appreciate that. Sherry Vincent, Stephen Wilson. He says, hey, what about the magnetic gravitational pull force we have connects the world? Yep. And Judy Litke, who's been very supportive as well. 44 people in the house. If these shows resonate with you, please share as we begin to make this transition to our own site and our own personal profile-based community for everybody. This isn't about Todd or Morgan or Miguel or the others involved. It's about all of us. It's a place where we can all go and be safe and be supported. So, but we do have controversial shows, and usually it involves Miguel Dean because he is highly controversial. He loves that I put him on the spot. Although I did not put you on the spot that day that the internet went out when you were by yourself. You did a great job, by the way. I went back and watched it, and I don't watch these shows. How do you know the names aren't fake, Todd? Because I am a multidimensional, hyper evolutionary star seed human hybrid divine being, just like you, Peter Johnson. Uh, hell, I don't know. We just keep going with it. If they're not real, then I'll let the universe work that out. What do you think, Miguel?
I think the question arises: what is real?
Exactly right. Exactly. Yeah. So Miguel, thank you for coming back. I love sitting down with you. I can't wait to the day we're sitting down together. And I just want to tell you that if you can get your ass over here to Kauai, which is, I know I haven't been here long, but I'm partial. This is the best of the 7 islands. It's got incredible energy. Oh my God! I'm 3 blocks from a waterfall. I'm a 5-minute ride to the mountains, 5-minute ride to the beach. It's incredible. It's got different climates all on different sides of the island. There's a desert. It's got the second deepest canyon in the United States is here on this little island.
Wow, what's it called? What's the island called? Kauai.
Kauai, yeah, Kauai. And I'm a mile out of Kapa'a, which is the cool little town, the sleepy little town here. But what I was going to tell you is, if you ever can get over here, I've got your arrangements, your your place to sleep worked out for you. So awesome. You don't have to worry about that. You actually wouldn't have to worry about food. You wouldn't have to worry about where you sleep. And let me tell you something, it's expensive. But we landed in a pot of gold, energetically, supported people, and, it's just really cool. So I'm just putting that out there to you. So a couple more hellos. Annie Zumo. Let's see. I was just watching your show with Dean and Michael. Oh, with Miguel and Michael from March 8th. So happy to catch this one live. That's Annie Zumo. She was on yesterday. Beautiful sister. I think she's going to be part of our programming as we get into it next month. Alina Starbuck, my friend in Sedona, who lives in like Buddha Canyon or something, man. Like, you go to her backyard and there's like, it's like a Buddha portal. She's amazing. Has an amazing story. Alina, I would love to get you on the show, by the way. You need to tell this story to people. Kim Atkins, Shane Smith, Stephen Wilson, Aline, my dear friend from Stavanger, big part of SoulogyOneStudios early days. Very good friend of mine. Turned us on to some really good music. Donna Kibblewhite from New Zealand. So, Miguel, I have something to ask you.
Oh, no. I'm worried.
I'm a little reluctant. I had to wait like 30 days before I could do another show with Miguel, because I get so much fan mail from women saying, can you please talk to Miguel? Can you please introduce me to Miguel? He's so cute and so soft and so sensitive. He's such a man. Does he have a sword? So
God, this is look. That's just, it's not fair. You're not allowed to say stuff like that. And
well, it's true. You think I'm kidding?
Well, obviously, I need to show more of a kind of like a rounded sense of who I am. Like when I'm being really needy and when I'm being really arrogant.
Hey, man, you know what? We've probably done 10 shows together. You one thing about you is you have bared your soul, man. I mean, I've seen you on here when you were like, you shouldn't even been on the screen. And I know, and I don't mean that you shouldn't have, but I knew how you felt, because there's times I'm like so effed up and so discombobulated. I have no business being on the camera, and I've seen you do that once or twice, and you do it, and I have a lot of respect for that, because I know what it takes, I'm going to tell you. So I wrote this meme, the 17th, what's today, the 19th, 2 days ago. I had this massive, what was happening? Okay. So I did 2 shows. I had 4 scheduled. It's probably 1:00 in the afternoon. I'm trying to do a show with Annie Zumo. They won't let me do it from Zoom. They won't let me do it from Be Live. I can't do it from my phone on Facebook Live, and I can't do it from my computer on Facebook Live. And I'm getting all of these voices, my aspects, whatever, the you, me, we, it, telling me, you're not going on today. You're not going on today. You need to back off of this, launching this weekend thing. You need to go like sit down and chill out, chill the F out. That's actually what they told me. So I got off. I went downstairs, and I was like, I called Morgan. I'm like, the universe is telling me they're fixing to like feed me a bunch of information. I don't know what's happening. It was a lot to take in. It was a lot talking to Annie like this, and then getting all this information. And I told Annie I got to go. And so I ended up. Now I had slept, and I don't usually sleep that much. I usually sleep like 5-6 hours. I had slept like 8.5 hours. So I'd only been up like, like 4 or 5 hours. I not slept, but I went into dimension for almost 5 hours. I wake up and it's 8 o'clock at night and the full moon is up. I'm like, what the F, what is happening? But one of the things that happened is I came out of it and I wrote 2 memes, and one of them was about, I don't know anything like Plato said or Socrates. I don't know nothing. But this is the biggest shift I've ever felt. It's coming. It's here. Like boom. But the other one I wrote, and I don't even know why, I just spit it out. A man can't become a divine masculine till he gives up the energy of his, I don't want to offend anybody, his penis, okay. Pardon the French, but that's true shift. I am heart. And you know what? It was amazing. 208 engagements. Most of the people, well, seem to support it. And I'm not looking for that. What I'm saying, what I found very interesting was the men. I've been in resistance to like the last threshold, the last gateway, the last door for me, and I'm being very open about this, has been, I don't want to give that up. I don't want to give up that prowess in the bedroom. I've lived it. I've had it. It's incredible. It brings pleasure to me and pleasure to my partner, but it's still a frequency of control and dominance and pushing buttons. We all been there as men. I can push your buttons and it does something. There's something too sacred about the intimacy to be fucking with it. And to be, and one thing I've heard from the universe over and over and over for 7.5 years is whatever you did before, and this is an individual and collective message, whatever worked for you to get you to this point is not going to work from here forward. So no matter how good it was, no matter how well it served you, be it in business or in the bedroom or in the kitchen or wherever, as a father, as a son, whatever, it has to change. It can't even look like, even Soulogy. I was told, and I had a long business career and I was very successful with the companies I worked with. And every time I tried to structure it, it would blow up. And they said, no, because you can't use that. You have to do something that's unknown, step into the unknown, surrender to the embrace. So I look at the same thing, and I found it. I didn't put this out to get a rise out of anybody, no pun intended, but I found it very interesting, some of the comments that came from the men, which was basically resistance. And I'm sorry, brothers, but that's what it is. You can't have your cake and eat it too. I have seen probably 1 to 2 to 3% of what the sacred sexual intimacy is. And I'm here to tell you that it is light years and eons from the greatest sex we can have from the old paradigm. And I'm going to be upfront about it. I led a very active life. I was very good at it. And I had some great experiences, but they don't even, they're like they're like an ant on an elephant's ass when it comes to what sacred sexual intimacy is. So, brothers, I'm not picking on you. I'm here with Miguel, my brother, our brother, to try to figure this shift out. And I'm here to tell you, if you are in resistance, here's what the universe did to me 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, trying to get me this message. I guess that precipitated this meme. Said, took me up. I was standing on a cliff, like a cliff in a canyon. And I was standing on this cliff and I'm having this conversation. I'm buck naked. This is in dimension, and the universe is loud and clear. right? Mother and father, right? Talking to me, trying to get through to me, and said to me, "Are you a man?" And I'm like, "Yes." Are you a divine masculine? I said, "Yes." They said, "No, not yet." And I said, "Okay, what do I need to do?" They said, "Now, feel your manhood, like feel the essence of being a man." And I said, "Okay." Take all that in. They said, "Oh," and I said, "Okay." Then they said, "Now we are going to remove your genitals. We're removing your manhood. Okay? It's gone. And everything that goes with it, it's gone. Now do you feel like a divine masculine?" So the idea was, and the lesson was, that if that identity or that part of my identity that comes with my penis and my performance is removed and I'm unfazed, then I'm home. And that's what precipitated that meme, along with many other multidimensional stuff that everyone's been going through. But so my question to you is, I saw enough resistance from that post from men. Is it where you at with it? Is it that difficult to get there?
No comment.
You must be dating somebody. Uh-oh, I'm gonna get a bunch of hate mail now.
I am
But I mean,
dating. I am dating somebody actually, but I'm not going to go into that now. I don't think. No, now's not the right
oh, you
time.
are. You didn't tell us what was happening there. But man, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the divine feminine and the things that her standing in her power and all these things over the last 2, 3, 4 years. But and what the suppression that she had and that's all absolute, But he has too. He has too. His real power has been suppressed. His real heart, his real energy, his strength, his courage, what he brings to the table has been suppressed. And in place of that has been this false masculine power, which has been symbolized by his erect penis.
Okay, so Todd, let me say a couple of things because before I forget them, because they come in and then they disappear again quickly. So you see, I think that I think it always feels to me like masculine's a weird is a kind of like a weird word, and I kind of like try and create this difference of I would say that at the moment on my journey and this kind of like labels and all that sort of thing, I'm kind of wearing the coat of sacred masculine. Now, sacred masculine feels different. It shouldn't really be sacred masculine. It should be a sacred man, which kind of means that there's a kind of connection with God and the divine, and that this reality that we perceive with our senses is just a little piece of the jigsaw kind of thing, like yeah. But the divine, the masculine bit, that is kind of like yeah, the sacred man is the result of a certain fusion and union of the divine feminine masculine twin flame within. But as soon as we say masculine and feminine, we start thinking of men and women and male and female. And I think it would almost be better if we just use yin and yang, yin and yang or something like that, because it's like sometimes when I'm in sessions with clients and they say, well, why is that masculine energy? And I have to say, remind them and say, I'm not talking about male energy or men energy. It's just different polarities. And I think, or what it feels to me, is that the kind of sacred masculine sort of like stuff, for me, it's a story, it's a story that works. It's a sort of model for coming home, if you like. And it just kind of arose. I didn't choose it. It just started showing up in my life. I kind of like look at the patterns and think, all right, all this stuff's happening. And these words, sacred masculine is coming up a lot. And the twin flame stuff started coming up a lot and having experiences around all that kind of stuff. So it feels like it's a stage on the journey, if you like, but everything changes, doesn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Everything changes, and it feels like it is part of that. If we kind of like see the yin yang symbol with the a bit of each is contained within the other, that they're not, totally separate, and it's this sort of fusion and this melting. That isn't it that what's taking place to a certain extent is that we're moving away from duality and moving towards oneness and connection. So isn't the whole masculine and feminine thing part of duality?
Yeah.
Because it feels to me as if, and I've been saying this for a little while, and people always look at me like I'm a bit strange, but I believe that humans, whatever humans are, will become androgynous at some point. That if we're moving towards oneness, then I think the male and female thing will disappear as well. Which is why it's interesting hearing you talking about what happened with you, and remove the genitals, remove that maleness, and then how do you what happens then? So it feels like that is a logical, progression.
Well, yeah, and then I read something like, and I've read it before. Somebody, and again, you bring up a great word, stories. So much of the stuff we talk about stories, but I read again that somebody said it was in Lemuria that we decided to become, we split the genders or whatever. But at the same time, and I've had this conversation with Morgan a lot, and her intel for 20 years has been bringing the divine, or anchoring the divine feminine energy onto the earth. I mean, I'm just giving the general, and divine union, bringing the energy of divine union, the energy of the Trinity back to the earth.
Yeah.
And so I think for our, I look at it as all of us, and somebody just made a great comment. Serena said, I really feel this is a male as well as female topic, sacred men and sacred women. So she's saying exactly what you're saying, but there's got to be a reason, just like there's a reason that we're 99.99% of the time conscious in this aspect. When we have all of these, then when we have 99.99% of our multidimensional aspects not consciously involved, at least it's changing now. But I mean, so it's the human, 1% of our aspects, 99% of our experience. So there's a reason for that. The human is the hero. There's something about that. At the same time, why are some of us masculine, incarnations, and female incarnations with different degrees of energetic masculinity and femininity? Okay. Why is that? I think I have to agree with her after listening to her for 3 or 4 years and not agreeing with her. There's got to be a reason. And I've really felt that over the last, I want to say almost 3 months. I've really felt like, as I've been communing in my own universe, you're here to anchor some early stuff in. Not that I'm any different, but that you're here to anchor the divine masculine. You're here to get your balls busted. You're here to go through this. You're here to go through that and come out of it with integrity and courage and expansion. Because as we know, once somebody does something energetically, then the door is open and others can do it and expand it as well. So I don't know.
It's a chapter in the story, isn't it? It's a chapter in a much bigger story, in a much bigger book, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's it's a bit of the, and I don't go into my mind so much these days, but the metaphor comes up. Just give a little plug for my first book. It's like stepping stones in the mist. We are on this stepping stone now, which is the present, and there are things for us to learn. And life is the workshop, and the experiences are presented so that we learn and grow and become the fullest potential, of who we are. And when the time is right, the mist will clear and the next stepping stone will present itself when we've done what we needed to do on this stepping stone. And that's kind of, from the big picture of humanity's journey. This is where we are, and it's got something to do with duality, and it's got something to do with, there must be male and female, must be something to do with the whole duality trip. And is it not something to do with potentially exploring love? If all the sort of mystics say, that we come from oneness and we are sort of divine love, that is our very nature. isn't there an aspect of, okay, so you come into human form to experience love, and so there has to be some kind of like duality, another aspect of duality, which is male female.
Yeah.
Not that it has to be male female. There's not a problem with male male, and that's potentially in the picture as well. That there's all this stuff with the quite a few young people and so on that seem to be coming through that are saying they're in the wrong bodies, and the duality of clear
Yeah.
masculine and clear feminine seems to be blurring in that
It
aspect
is.
as well. No.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting too, because you can always look for really good clues in the mainstream media. I do. But for years, look at the mainstream media to see what they're trying not to tell you or what propaganda they're trying to drive. And so there is a lot of evidence. I've got a lot of kids, and and I see what's happening. But they're genderless. I mean, and what I mean by that is in their minds, it's like, one's no different than the other, many of them, I'm not saying all of them. And then you see this propaganda campaign against, anything that's out of the so-called norm, that's basically, crucifying these kids that want to go to school. And if it's a boy that wants to do his hair and makeup, whatever, all that stuff. But I think for me, a lot of times we look at the physical, for the evidence. And one thing that's become very clear to me over the last few months, more than ever, has been the fact that energetically, whether it's me and you as a partnership or an organization or whatever, energetically things happen way back there. We did the work way back there, and the physical manifestation, materialization occurs here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I'm seeing, and to your point, is that if you're a man or if you're a woman, we'll just say men for now. If I'm a man, my perception of the feminine energy is where it is. I mean, that's where the answer is. I see, even in light worker circles, a lot of women saying, I am a divine feminine. Men, hurry up. There's this separation. I'm not picking on the women because the men do the same thing. And one of the places that the men do one of the things, well, I think that the place where the men make the widest line of separation is from their conditioned mentality in terms of sexual performance, intimacy, aggression, power, dominance, with the phallics being the tool, being the symbolic and literal tool. I mean, it's control. And it's based on a relationship that is not equal. The man may be in a situation, in a relationship, say for many, many years, and she runs the show, but he might get his dominance in the bedroom through an unequal distribution of this energy. It's not a shared energy. It's I'm taking this from you kind of thing. And I think that he had that. And I think women can do that too. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm getting at in summation is that it's right here. When we can start to look at each other in a genderless way and say, okay, well, I'm going to put a man, my brother here and my sister here, on the same scale. I'm not going to look at them any different. I'm going to look at them as divine human beings. I think that's where we're kind of at. I think that's that genderless frequency that you're describing begins right there,
Well, yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying, but I think there's an and as well, and it's like man and woman are different. Yeah, it's not to say that one is better or more powerful, but there are differences, and it seems to me that the fundamental difference is the it's like coming back to the Monty Python sketch, like a woman has a womb, a man can't, a woman has a womb, and she brings forth life, kind of comes from the unmanifest, manifest through this incredible miracle of the womb, and gives birth. And the main, and that's like, and I would say that's the main reason why man has subjugated and been treated woman, and needed that power over because of that insecurity of that incredible power and gift that woman has.
Yeah.
Now, man's gift is that he is physically stronger, and and that role, and that on its own seems a bit like, well, that's not a big deal, is it? A woman can bring forth life, and man's got like slightly denser muscles, and and can is a bit physically stronger. Well, that's a crap sharing out of power and so on. But when you think of it, that the reason why man is stronger is that whole protection thing, and and the history of where we come from. And my sense is that there is nothing more, there is no greater privilege and honor than to be the protector of the bringer forth of life.
Yeah.
So it's like you just change your perception a little bit, and what becomes a bit of a bum deal becomes a, oh my God, wow, what a privilege, what an honor, to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I think the same kind of, there's a similar thing in the bedroom. I would say that in the bedroom, yeah, men and women are very different. There is this kind of, and I know this is a bit black and white, but there is this kind of like masculine energy of action and penetration and so on, and and the feminine energy of receptivity and etc. So there is a difference, but it seems to me that the 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 time in the bedroom goes deeper, the more that dance arises from that loving place of reverence. There is no dominance. There is, I am here to serve and to pleasure, and it's okay for woman to be on top as well, and lead the dance sometimes, like, you know what I mean?
Okay, if you say so. I got to crack a joke here and there. No, I that's what I was saying earlier. It's, to me, it's like, it's a sharing. You're sharing. You're not performing. I mean, this, I don't know. And I think for the men, somebody said something here along the lines of Heather Nielsen said, they, basically, that women may be an unconscious threat to men. I think that's what the gig has been. Mm-hmm. I think that's what was played on by the lesser gods, or by whatever designed it, is that, yeah, man. I mean, I went through 5 pregnancies with 2 wives, and I absolutely, regardless of the personal interaction or how well we were getting along, I saw it. I'm not saying I'm anything, but I was like, holy crap. I mean, holy crap. I mean, up until the last moment, I'm cooking, cleaning, rubbing feet, whatever I got to do, because I'm going, I can't do that. Even if I wanted to, I can't do that. And I can see that energy having an effect, being the prerequisite, or being the cause, or what was utilized to pressure the dominant, aggressive, pervasive masculine energy that we all know is coming down now, as evidenced recently by the Notre Dame burning down. That was interesting, wasn't it? And all the stuff that came out of it. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know too much about it, Todd, but I did see that apparently there's something like 300 churches or something in France have been, burned.
I don't know. It strikes me for 2 reasons, 3 reasons. One, this was a period when the masculine, I feel, in March, really stepped into its power. And I'm not speaking of men, physical male incarnations in particular. I'm really speaking of the energy of the masculine, like the feminine had already done a year and a half, 2, 3 years ago. I don't know. But I saw that energy land, and I saw what the impact was. The masculine has arrived. Daddy's home. And what I found interesting about it was, when this fire happened, one is that I think we're actually starting to see, in almost an instant manifestation, the work that we're doing inside is starting to appear in the external collective shared experience that we're having.
Mm.
And two, I started to see women coming out and saying the feminine is rising now. And a lot of them were using it, utilizing the symbology and metaphoric aspect and reality of Notre Dame and other things like that burning, and that the real feminine was coming back. I found that very interesting because he had just arrived. So it was almost like that force came in and allowed her to go higher. You know what I mean? And then that dance that you're talking about starts, you know, because when she landed and she really stepped into her power in 2015, 2016, when that energy was prevalent and everyone was talking about it, you didn't see men rising. They weren't rising. They were going, holy shit, what's happening? Right. But I found that really interesting that when that power, that masculine power really entrenched itself and really stepped into it, you know, at least had that energy available for all of us, that she then stepped up again. You know, I
Yeah.
thought, wow, this is getting really interesting, you know,
Well,
especially coming up with Easter.
because I guess, yeah, you know, what the feminine energy can't sort of like just shoot off on its own, because the two are just so interconnected, isn't there? So that there has to be, yeah, there has to be some collaboration, cooperation. It's so interconnected. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I'm noticing is that I'm in my sacred masculine healing sessions that I'm doing, I'm finding that there is a pattern of women that I'm working with that are wanting to heal the masculine within themselves, you know? So it's really focusing on that masculine energy and learning to trust. Most have had, you know, have been really severely let down by men. And so there's been a rejection or a distortion of their own masculine energy because it's associated with men. So there's that, you know, the women that are saying, yeah, I've been working on my feminine stuff for ages, but actually I'm not quite sure where I am with the masculine stuff, like, you know. So that's certainly a pattern that's emerging, and I guess that fits very much with what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. And man, I gotta say that's huge. You know, I agree with you, and I've seen it in my little universe very recently. But look, just the fact that even if it's a small minority of women stepping up and saying, "Hey, you know what? I need to work on my masculine wound."
Mm-hmm.
That is another example of what I was just talking about. She's going to do that. You know what's going to follow. You know, I mean, she's going to push the bar, that the she being that frequency, that energy that's primarily represented as a female incarnation. She's going to do that. You know, that's a step towards unity. That's taking a step to overcome separation, because that's what I was getting at earlier. Enough of this, you know, war of the sexist stuff. But if that energy's, and it doesn't surprise me at all, in her expansion, she's doing that. He's going to follow. You know, he's going to follow and make a more concerted, conscious effort, because I think a lot of what's been happening hasn't been conscious. It's been unconscious to the human hybrid soul. The energy comes in, and it's like the universe is saying, okay, here's what's coming into the realm today. Feminine energy is rising, you know, but at some point it becomes a conscious interaction. And that's what it sounds like to me with what you're talking about, with what you're doing, and these women stepping up. So that's a great sign.
Yeah, and I guess it makes sense just coming up for me. You know, the feminine energy often, I'm not talking about female or women. I'm talking about the feminine energy being very creative, and you know, and free and flowing and so on. But then, you know, the masculine is a bit more penetrative and right action and proactive and moving forward. That masculine energy, not a man, but that energy. So you know, it's almost like, yeah, they have to work together, because you kind of like swirl and all this stuff happens, and then you have to manifest it and push forward, and then there's some more of the creative feminine stuff, and then there's a push forward. I know it's not that clear, but it's back to that. Yeah, that the two are just so interconnected, and you can't one can't happen without the other.
True. That's true. Somebody said my mic was cracking. Was my mic cracking?
Yeah, it was crackling for a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
Just tell me if it does, because I might have to go get another one.
Well, it's crackling a wee bit. It seems to be crackling less now than it was.
Is
But
it still cracking? God,
yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
what is going on here?
it wasn't earlier.
Hmm. I don't know, man. Maybe I've dropped it too many times. Is it still cracking?
Yeah, it is a wee
God,
bit.
what are we doing? That's not cool. How about like that? Is it cracking now?
Probably more now.
So I got on the booster. All
Yeah.
right, well, I
Does
might
it,
have to.
it's crackling more. Does it crackle less if you hold it further away from your mouth, Todd?
Well, I was doing that, and then
No, it's crackling like fuck now.
how's that? Crackling?
Fucking terrible.
Horrible.
Yeah,
Man,
that's
that's not cool. I might have to go get some new equipment.
that's better now.
All right, I'll just try to keep my voice down. Keep my. Annie says it's just my energy.
Yeah.
I don't know. After that little channeling she did yesterday, I don't doubt her. Okay, so it's been like this the whole show. They're saying, okay, I'll have to go get another one. I've only dropped it like 15 times. You know,
Well,
literally,
that's
bam.
built-in
So,
obsolescence. That's called, isn't it?
did you do the? I know you had something planned with and Rita over in Glastonbury.
No,
That hasn't occurred yet, though, has it?
no, that's over the solstice. Yeah, that's
But you
yeah.
had something, didn't you have something? I saw a post of you the other day. You were standing in front of some people.
Yeah, that was a photo from last year. Actually, that was
Okay.
just a little plug for the Goddess conference. I'm off to Portugal in a few weeks' time for the Goddess conference there.
Oh, yeah.
That's my next adventure. Yeah, I'm doing a talk. They've asked me to speak about initiating the boys
What does
because
that mean?
huh?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Well, one of the things that I do is I do youth mentoring. I work with young men,
Yeah.
and so and I guess it's a kind of the work that I do is very loosely. It's kind of in disguise a sort of rites of passage initiation for the young men.
Mm.
So we talk about man stuff, and so rites of passage essentially and initiating the boys, that we used to have a ceremony where boys were taught, okay, you're no longer a boy now, you're now a man, and you cross over the threshold, and there would usually be there would usually be some pain involved. There'd usually be a challenge. They'd be taken away from the tribe, and you're no longer a boy with the women. You now become a man. But we don't have that in our society, and so there's this sense of we have millions of boys walking around in men's bodies because where do boys get the guidance of what it is to actually be a man these days? Where do they look? To the politicians, to the footballers, to the pop stars? You know what I mean? There's not a great deal of guidance on
I
what
don't
it
think
is.
there's any, is there?
Huh?
I said, I don't think there's any other than Miguel Dean. I haven't heard of any.
Yeah,
Seriously?
well, I think there's the best we can do, which bless my father, but I often say that my dad did a really good job of showing me how not to be the sort of man that I wanted to be. So
Yeah.
we've got a pretty good template of from the negative of this is how not to do it. So you just have to turn it around and look what's on the other side. But I guess I try and instill into the boys that I work with, just some of the key principles of what it is to be a sacred masculine or an authentic man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I'd love to start um, transmitting these types of events onto the website because it'll be this coming month when we kick it off. And almost like to create a hub where people can broadcast into the hub and then we'll broadcast it out. You know what I mean? So that's my way of saying if there's anybody that can hold a camera with a good microphone and the people at the event don't have a problem with it, film it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Shine it over here, and we'll shine it out through the network. We got to be
Yeah.
going pretty good by then. We got to be going.
That's been part of, is interestingly, that's been part of my, because there's definitely been some stuff. Life keeps, I always say life is the workshop, and there's been a load of stuff asking me to step deeper into my masculinity. And one of those things is facing fears around technology. There was for a long time I was kind of like, oh no, that's right out of comfort zone, and I just feel so vulnerable and unsure and anxious in that place. But I've made some steps and into that. So there's no reason why that shouldn't continue. Yeah, just getting used to filming events and all this live streaming stuff, and
Yeah. I mean, I've done it with the most minimal technology you can imagine. A lot of times it's just a phone, but and phones work good, but now yeah, I've done enough research into it. It's not an expensive type of scenario. I mean, they probably $300 to $1,000, just depending on what you're doing. 1,000 being one of those things that you carry, like the news people, they carry with the camera and the mic. Yeah, I'd love to have one of those, but I think that's important. I think there's more and more coming together in the physical, like Soul Tribe or whatever, like functions like that. This year, it seems like everyone seems to be coming to that point, and it's happening. I've seen it happen with a lot of friends, and I think it's important to get those those exchanges out there, because they're full of activation, like where you're going to be talking about. That's huge. But like I said, where are you going to find that? So if we're the alternative response to the mainstream media, which isn't going to put anything out like that, then let's pull that information in and let's put it out there. So we'll support you any way we can.
Thanks, Todd. And I'm going to make a note. I will send an email to them in Sintra in Portugal and ask them if it's going to be filmed, because that's a start. If we just get it filmed, then we can do something with it, maybe.
Well, what I found in the ones that I covered is if they have a mic system, then you definitely want to be near the speaker, the amplifier. So which means you might not be able to be close to the stage, or you might be able to, just depends. But you know what? All you can do is try. All you can do. But I think that's a great topic, and I would love to broadcast that out there. Okay, so my voice is still breaking up. I cannot broadcast like that. That's not going to work.
It's pretty crackly, Todd.
I have no idea what's happening. That's too bad. Well,
do you want to shut up and let me read one of my poems?
Absolutely.
Shall I do that? That gets you out of the crackling.
Yeah, get me out of here. That's upsetting, though.
So, with the sacred masculine theme, I'll read this. It's not a long one. I found a short one. Right? So this one's called "The Wooden Fence."
Read as many as you want.
It's nearly my bedtime. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. It's full moon here. It's like manic, crazy detox symptoms and all the rest of it. Like, you get one poem, Todd. All right.
All right, one poem. Howl like a wolf.
Okay, so it's called "The Wooden Fence."
Oh my God.
I am a wooden fence to keep you safe. A magic fence that does not constrain you and from which you may leave at any time. No harm can come to you while I surround you, and if you choose, I will move with you wherever you go. I am a fence on a high plateau, and through my arms is a stunning view. The grass where you lay is soft, warm, and mossy, and the earth holds you gently in her loving embrace. And I am a fence to keep you safe while you hum gently to yourself and plait your hair and dream in your heart's desires. I am a fence because it is all that I can be. When fear comes roaming, it will not stay long, for fear is no match for a fence such as me.
Mm.
I will move in close and embrace you tenderly and stroke your hair when your holy tears of surrender fall to bless the sacred earth. And I am a fence to witness your rising when sweet release has cleaned you out. I shall behold your dance and hear the sweet song of your heart. I am a fence that vibrates in awe at the magnificence of your strength, your courage, your softness, your exquisite beauty. Maiden, mother, lover, crone, I am honored and blessed to serve you all. I am a wooden fence to keep you safe.
Wow. Hmm. That's amazing. You're good. I didn't know you were a poet. I'm a poet.
I
We'll
know
have
you're a poet, Todd. I like your poetry.
to
I like.
we'll have to do what do they call those? A slam, a poetry slam.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, we'll have to come. I'll have to come over to Kauai sometime. Are you going to be staying still for a while, or what?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going. You're not hitting the road again in a little bit. I'll turn up in
Oh,
Kauai until I. Oh
we'll
no, Todd moved on a couple of weeks ago.
mhm. We'll probably do some traveling, but we'll be based out of here.
Mm.
So yeah, we really been blessed. After all these years of struggle. Um, I mean, the overhead is. I lived all over the country. I mean, I'd have to go to a small little town in Arkansas or some backwoods place, which I'm not opposed to, but to get lower expenses, and we've been blessed. But this is what's happening to everybody. So yeah, if you want to come over, I told you your food, as long as you like eating out of the garden, and your place is pretty much taken care of. It wouldn't cost you much at all, very little.
Well,
Very, very.
I'm really glad to hear that you got somewhere where you're safe and where things are good and
Oh
you.
my God, it's the first time ever, man. I'm telling you, it's just like, and then to be trying to do Soulogy and find stability for your wife who lives on the other side of the world, and it was just like, and it just hit us in the face. It was like we were on one side of the island, we were living dated, 2-3 days at a time, and then we had a few, I don't know, we had a few, not much, like $500-600 maybe. And we came down with the universe. We came down with the intention of like, you know what? We're not going to worry about it, but not like the fluffy love and light stuff. We were like, we're just not going to worry about it. We've been through all these initiations. We sat down, had some breakfast. I saw this ad on Craigslist, and the next thing I know, we're sitting here in this place that's $400 a week, piped in internet, and it's our first home ever. So I spent some of the last few weeks painting, undercoating the entire place, which has got all kinds of wood and surfaces, and so Morgan's going to come in, and she's a professional remodeler, professional painter. Like I'm talking like 1% aptitude or percentile, and so 99 percentile, and so yeah, we're going to paint the place up, and we have roots now. So
Awesome. I'm really pleased for you. I'm really happy, Todd. And
yeah,
when's Morgan back?
she was coming the 28th, but we moved the date up. Um, we moved the date up last night, so she'll be here Wednesday morning. So she'll be here on the 24th. Yeah.
That's you. You must be feeling so good, man. That is excellent.
Dude, I am, but also this this place looks like a disaster, man. It looks like a bachelor's pad, even though I don't do anything but work in here and then go down go down to the little town and go have a whiskey and a beer sometimes, or just unwind, go walk on the beach, get something to eat. But oh my God, all my clothes are dirty, all the dishes are dirty. There's bottles
Oh,
everywhere.
come on,
So,
get your shit
yeah,
together, man.
yeah. So I didn't think she was coming till the 28th. So no, it's not that bad, but it's not like it would be if she was here. So, but well, you know, but I think some of it had to do with just being. I mean, I'm not attached to anything, but
Your
you know,
penis.
no, that was taken from me on the mountain. But no, but it's like I don't know. I don't feel it's a little disorienting not to be with her. You know, it's a little bit disorienting, and I think everybody's been going through a lot of stuff too over the last few weeks. It's been pretty obvious. So I don't know. Whenever
Yeah.
we've come together, whatever happens always tends to follow the collective flow. So,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
I think we're all in for some really powerful expansions, elevations, and experiences as we get into May and the summer. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
beyond anything, beyond anything that we could imagine. I really
Yeah.
do. All of
Yeah.
us. Yeah. Is Mike still cracking? Or I have to go buy another one?
Like fuck, it's really crackling. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, really bad.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I can't have shows. I can't be doing shows like this. It's cracking really bad.
Mm.
Are you messing with me?
No, I'm not messing with you. I'm not messing with you. It is crackling. It is crackling.
You know what? I know what it is actually because it's happened before. I just figured it out. It's humidity. That's what
Uh,
it is.
okay.
Humidity. I've noticed it's been really humid the last couple of days for Hawaii, but I've noticed it's happened before. So I'm gonna have to go get a humidifier or something, dehumidifier.
Right. Right.
All right,
Okay.
brother. You want to? I don't want to talk too much because it's cracking, but you want to get together later on in May?
Uh, Todd, I'm. I'm always. It's always good news when I get a message from you. I'm always up for having spending some time with you. Yeah,
Well,
anytime.
okay, because I'd love for you to be part of the launch, which I think is going to be on around the 18th of May.
Okay.
So
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll get with you on that. Take care. Sorry about the crackling. All
Yeah. Lots of love, Todd. Thank you. Thank you. Go well.
right, we'll see you later. Bye bye.